Okie doke. It's Warhammer, Chaos Gate, and Demon Hunters, or is it Diamond Hunters? Mad Demon type of thing. Mad Demon. That was more correct. Okay, I have quite a few gripes with the game. I've been playing like a few hours. I have level 3 guys here, and playing on ruthless difficulty, which is a bit more challenge than the standard. And I've encountered quite a few bugs, game-breaking ones even, and this is the third time that I'm playing this map, and I haven't had to play a map again, even once before. So this is a bit of a story. I was right at the very end. I do like how big the maps are, that you have to, sort of like go through different kinds of terrains to reach the end. But I was playing with the gamepad because I like to lie down on the sofa and kick back, and I hit the select button, which ends your turn. And I was absolutely surrounded with enemies that have been brought up by this warp surge. I will talk more about this later. And standard patrol, and I had my guys with full action points, and I hit the end turn, and the game didn't even ask anything, and it just went to the enemy's game. And it was a pretty crappy thing to have happen. Okay, I can throw a grenade. I will take.
My blade is yours.
Okay, my main gripe about the game is that while I do love the big maps, I quite abhor how they've absolutely decided to make the distances in the maps like useless. You can run half a map if you want, and a beautiful area like this where you have to defend or attack an uphill battle is quite, it doesn't exist a problem there, because you can run up and the elevation doesn't cut your movement rate at all, and you can climb huge walls, and it doesn't matter where you're coming from, because the game has just decided to do things that way. And if these guys at their turn, they can run to me and melee my guys, but they're pretty weak, so basically I can put my guys on Overwatch and maybe deal with these. Okay,
my blade is yours.
It's a bit sad thing that how they decided to not to utilize or the usual ways of doing things. Okay, I don't have a stun here. I can get it here. For some reason these enemies don't go in the stun. Okay, here we have it. We have number 3 here, which means that 3 hits from gun or a weapon, melee weapon, the guy will be going in the stun. But the stun doesn't work because it only lasts for my turn. When it's his turn or her turn, he will jump up and do what he does best. So it's kind of a stupid thing. Fairly useless, because these guys die even on ruthless difficulty. Few hits. Well, it was a bad example because it's a very squishy enemy. Even with the mutations that these can receive. This warp surge rises on every turn, and when it reaches the end, a warp will appear and enemies will spawn out, or an area will be covered in filth from Nurgle, and or is it Ginge? I don't remember. And or your guys can receive some ailments, or these guys can receive some buffs. So it's an interesting element, and I don't think that it hasn't felt cheap this far, because I haven't lost a match because this has decided to go bunkers, but I suppose it can happen. It just hasn't happened to me. Okay, so I'm gonna go here. Yeah, one of the things that I don't like, while I like a lot of things because the game reminds me of Gears Tactics, which I think is absolutely epitome of tactical, fast-paced strategic games. One of the things that I like that when you put guys on the Overwatch, which is like they will, you know, guard an area, and if an enemy crosses there, he will fire. What they brought over from Gears Tactics is that like this guy has 3 ammo, and if he has 3 actions or has 2, he will shoot all the 2 actions into the enemies. And previously in the XCOMs and other games, it's been like you have 1 shot, and it sort of felt like you were wasting your action points. You could do so much other more interesting things in the match, in the fight. So it hasn't made a sense. And on the matter of Overwatch and cover and perhaps the terrain griefs that I have, this guy jumps out of the cover to go to the Overwatch mode and expose himself absolutely. He was in full cover. You can see the full shield, and then next to him is like half cover. You know, it's a less of a cover, but still a cover. It would make a lot of sense if you would be in a full cover, and if you'd go into Overwatch mode, the cover will change into a half cover, and he would remain a bit behind the cover actually, then just jump out and tell everyone, "Here I am, come and shoot me." Anyways, few gripes there. One of the things that I noticed quite early on is that the game is quite heavy. I have a 3090, and it's chugging away. I'm having 60 frames going on. Sometimes it will go into 30, and actually in the previous try of this map, it chugged into 30 and the game crashed. Hasn't happened before. I wonder if this map is cursed beyond having these slime things. And talking about the slime things, I do quite like the details of the game, the maps, and it's that much more sadder thing that the surroundings doesn't actually cut. It doesn't make any, you know, effect on what you're playing and what you're doing, because you can pretty much run over anything and shoot everything. And about shooting everything, it's a bit cartoonish, the game overall feel, the graphics, and it's fitting. Then when I throw the grenade, I will show you. Okay, I noticed that before chucking the grenade. The enemies would fall, and quite a few fell into the ravines, and terrain was destroyed. There was a huge wall thingy here, and I think that every wall and these little obstacles are destroyable, which is interesting, but again, a stupid point because it doesn't really matter. The surroundings doesn't matter. There's no other way to go about saying that without just playing it like that or putting it like that. Okay, 3 actions here. I think I had some other gripes to whine about. One of the things that I noticed, I like to play with the gamepad, and when you have the cursor here, you can see the number of actions you have left if you move into specific areas. Like here, I have 2 actions left if I move here, and 1 action left if I move here. It's a very eloquent way of putting things on visible, but you don't have this cursor for whatever reason on the gamepad. And another thing is that I will probably have to go through this phase and let it show rather than just try to tell about it. Okay, you're doing something. Swollen flesh. Yeah, I don't mind that the small enemies, you know, can run absolutely big distances, but it just doesn't feel like anything when everyone can. We have these enemy space marines that can pretty much walk over. I don't think that they have enough movement to come here from there, but they don't have to. They can shoot me. These guys are melee. Yeah, I have a character like this. I have a scatter shot, with I think would be interesting ability. Get rid of these two guys, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's bugged, like a stunning, how they just pop up. And the game does need some work, but I think I can live with these things. It's a decent enough a game. I really kind of enjoyed playing it. I love tactic games, and especially how much this reminds me of Gears Tactics. I think I've played that game like 5 times over and over in different difficulties, and it's just pleasant, you know, click around and do things on your pace. You can enjoy a nice cup of coffee, like I have here Ethiopian Yurchafe Aricha, which I just butchered. A good coffee and good time, and you know, relax afterward, what have you. This thing here, what you're seeing is, of course, I don't know, like 70% of the game. We have, you know, resource management thing, and I will cut to that now. Actually, one thing that I have to sort of wonder about again is the melee thing, because when you go with the melee, you can have abilities here, but occasionally the game will put you into some sort of weird sniper mode when you can decide if you want to chop his arm off or execute him, or maybe have more effect on the stun. It's not a balanced thing. It's quite dumb, and it doesn't feel like any. Oh, I'm just using the weakest melee on the hardest shooting character. Makes sense. Okay, I have my doctor with the... Okay, this is the menu. Afflict bleed. These enemies, again, are quite easily destroyed and don't call for bleed. And disabling his attacks, that is obviously the most effective or interesting or useful thing. What's this thing on the mark? I don't understand. Why is it marked like this? Because if you stun this, you don't receive any extra seeds, and this is the mark of the enemy that gives you seeds. That's a resource for the resource management section, which is this. The other part of the game, or the lesser half, is the resource management, and I think it brings something to the game, but it also has some problems that I'm not quite fond of. First off, you will get rewards and see if... Okay, this was the other thing that I didn't like. In Gears Tactics you can find these crates in the match, and it's always, you know, sort of fun thing to try to get those before... You know, you have the balance of getting the maximum out of your guys, and or getting some loot boxes there, here and there. What's this British word? The loot in this game are, as you know, requisitions that you receive based on maybe your performance, and you have these requisition points that you can then use in getting these items, and these are randomized, I think, after every match. It's a interesting thing, but I much would have... Yeah, I've had my guys... It really bollocksed out the random factor in the map, like, almost screwed me at the end, and I didn't want to play the same map the fourth time. Yeah. One thing that I don't like is how many days it does take to your guys to heal up. For some reasons these guys are even critical, but this has 19 days and this one has 23 days. But anyway, you can promote your guys if promotion is available, and it brings up this, you know, skill tree, very basic stuff. Red and fire is pretty much useless. This weapon ignores damage penalties for partial cover. Interesting. Support 5 and damage shot within the knight's weapon. Oh, that's a good one. If some of my guys shoot a target that is in this guy's range, he will also shoot. Crit damage is always 1. Okay, so here we go into the main management, and we can see we got the NPC of this place, and we got the armory, which is items, I suppose. Yeah, you can change actually the requisitions that you receive from after the match. I haven't selected war gear, which are like grenades or other things. You got in barracks, and here we have like guys who have 53 days until I can use him in full health, which is a bit too punishing, and it's not fun mechanic. We need to be cut down. And talking about cutting down, we have these things which we can repair, and one of these things, I believe, actually cut down the time that your characters take to heal, but it's still quite a bit too much. So anyway, I'm here resourcing 11 days, 50 plus experience, which is a weird thing to have buffed. The next step is 50 more, and it's 100, which is like, okay. Then we have the Inquisitor, Vakir, or however you pronounce it, and another kind of researchers here, which are, you know, kind of like the cards in the game. You can apply, I don't know if I can actually show you stratagems here. The cards that you can apply to the match. I always forget these things. But here we have it in essence. This is the map. Oh, what's happening here? Weird. We have like these areas where the enemies are present, and if I get here before this meter runs out, I can fight them. And if I don't get there, they can conquer the system, and like here they have 3 systems. I've always been like here, and this will proc, but I have like 2 others near here, so I will go here, and this been sort of going up, and I'm actually letting this thing go on the 5 because I want to see what happens. And in the research thing, you can resource to make the ship faster, and whenever you sail or travel here and here, this meter will go down, and obviously if you travel faster, you can get in the more maps. And here we have the what's happening. 19 days, Jens will become available. Playing again. Here we have it as it is. It's a 3 out of 5 game. It's a decent one. It's a fair amount of stupid bugs, but I overall like the game. It's fast, and I really wish that they'd make the moving in the maps, which is my biggest gripes. I don't care about the bugging weapons or the stun. Just make the matches fun, and you make use of the elevations and covers a bit more reasonably. That's it. Good coffee, decent game.